Bruce is, was 32 years old. Let me explain something about his death, too, because there's, I guess, so many, rumors that are going about how he passed away and so forth, about touch of death and drugs and so forth. And so I'd like to clarify that before we go on with the demonstration.
There was...
How Bruce Lee died?
They said it was a couple.
Yeah.
They said he upset it because of his success in the film industry and taking the martial arts around the world, that he upset it, the triad.
Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris were known for their lightning-fast strikes, deadly fighting combinations, and stealthy techniques. The duo shared a rare bond marked by blood and passion that was closer than that of brothers until the unfortunate early passing of Bruce. This loss took its toll on Chuck, and for years he lived in agony over the untold fate that had befallen his comrade. Years after the great loss, Chuck has finally broken his silence about what really happened to Bruce Lee. How did the legend die?
Bruce Lee sitting down. Bruce Lee goes like this here. So I go down there and get off, start talking. And he says, don't you live in LA? I says, yes. He said, I do too. So why don't we start training together?
Join this thrilling episode as we unveil Chuck Norris's shocking truth behind the tragic and mysterious death of the legend Bruce Lee. Death of the legend. May 10th, 1973 is a day the world will never forget. While recording voices for Enter the Dragon at the Orange Sky Golden Harvest Film Studio in Hong Kong, the legendary Bruce Lee suddenly collapsed and was rushed to Hong Kong Baptist Hospital. The actor and martial artist were tormented by agonizing seizures and severe blinding headaches. After the doctors conducted a scan on him, they uncovered a chilling revelation. Bruce Lee was suffering from cerebral edema. The swelling in his brain was dangerously severe, and they urgently treated him with mannitol, desperately hoping to reduce the life-threatening pressure. After the treatment, the doctors breathed a sigh of relief, believing they had narrowly averted a catastrophe. Little did they know, their nightmare had only just begun. Months passed, and Bruce was back to his normal self. In fact, he got straight back to work, and on Friday, July 20th, 1973, he had plans to have dinner with actor George Lazenby in Hong Kong to discuss working on a film together. That fateful afternoon, Bruce and producer Raymond Chow met at the actor's house to talk about a movie called Game of Death. They worked intensely until 4 in the evening, then drove to the house of Betty Ting Pei, an actress, to discuss the script. As the sun began to set, Chow left for a dinner meeting, leaving Bruce and Betty alone. Feeling fatigued, Bruce decided to take a nap. Hours ticked by, and the growing silence became increasingly ominous. Bruce failed to show up for dinner, and an uneasy worry gnawed at Chow. Driven by an unsettling premonition, she rushed to Bruce's room. Despite frantic efforts to wake him, the actor remained unresponsive, so she summoned a doctor, and the tension in the room was palpable as they tried desperately to revive him. Minutes felt like hours, but after 10 agonizing minutes, it was clear. Bruce Lee could not be revived. In a blur of flashing lights and wailing sirens, Bruce was rushed to Queen Elizabeth Hospital by ambulance. The world seemed to hold its breath, but upon arrival, the unthinkable was confirmed. Bruce Lee, the indomitable dragon, was pronounced dead at the young age of 32 years old. The news sent shockwaves across the globe. Fans worldwide could not believe it, and many hoped for a miracle until July 25th, 1973, when Bruce was finally laid to rest at Lakeview Cemetery in Seattle. His funeral was a somber, heart-wrenching affair. Some of his closest friends, including Taki Kimura, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Dan Inosanto, Peter Chin, and his brother Robert, bore the weight of the world as they served as pallbearers, carrying the legend to his final resting place. The world had lost an icon, and the shadow of that day would linger for generations to come. Friendship forged in fire and blood. Among those deeply shattered by Bruce Lee's tragic death was Chuck Norris. His grief was palpable to the world because Bruce was more than a co-star. He was a brother, a bond unbroken by blood. Once upon a time, Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris were the perfect pair for any martial arts movie. Their swift moves and fierce combinations showcase the beauty of their unique fighting styles. Before these two legends crossed paths, Lee was already a sensation in Hong Kong with the Big Boss, and Fist of Fury, while Norris was a reigning world karate champion. Fate intervened in 1967, bringing them together at a major karate event. Norris emerged victorious with the trophy, and Bruce captivated the audience with his astonishing skills. They instantly hit it off, bonding over their shared passion for martial arts. Bruce, completely captivated by Chuck's moves, suggested that they join forces and train together in Lee's backyard, an arena that would become the birthplace of their legendary partnership. Lee, always eager to learn, absorbed new techniques from Norris. Norris pushed Lee to kick higher, challenging Lee's belief that kicks should stay low. Lee, ever the quick learner, adapted swiftly. Within 6 months, his kicks soared as high and struck as powerfully as Norris's. In turn, Norris was astounded by Lee's lightning-fast speed, immense strength, and profound philosophy. He eagerly embraced Lee's unique style of Jeet Kune Do. This art, created by Lee, was not just about fighting moves, but a way of life. Jeet Kune Do emphasized simplicity, direct strikes, and breaking free from traditional martial arts constraints. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and their training sessions became legendary. In fact, legends have it that this duo would have been an unstoppable force if they ever enrolled in a team tournament or faced a group of thugs on the streets. One of the coolest things about Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do was its interception move. This meant hitting your opponent's strike before it reached you. It required serious smarts, blazing speed, perfect timing, and the ability to switch tactics in an instant. Jeet Kune Do practitioners were trained in all sorts of moves: punches, kicks, elbows, knees, and more. But Jeet Kune Do wasn't just about fighting. It was a whole way of life. It encouraged people to think big, stay flexible, and get creative while also exploring themselves deeply. As Lee put it, take what works, ditch what doesn't, and add your own touch. Norris was captivated by Lee's energy, passion, and determination. But one day, a call from Bruce gave their friendship a new dimension. Bruce called Chuck out of nowhere, saying that he had done 2 movies in Hong Kong that eventually became huge hits, but he needed to take the next step in his career, which was breaking into Hollywood, and he needed Chuck's help. He wanted his friend, who had no acting experience, to help him make a movie with fight scenes he had never seen before by being his rival. That call led to the creation of Way of the Dragon, which Lee wrote and directed in 1972. The movie was about Tang Lung, a young martial artist from Hong Kong who goes to Rome to help a friend's family business fight off a ruthless crime boss. The plot was thick with suspense, and the showdown between Lee and Norris was nothing short of electrifying. As the cameras rolled, their fight scenes were intense, each blow and counterblow filled with raw power and precision. The movie reached its peak with an epic showdown in the ancient Colosseum between Tang, played by Bruce Lee, and Colt, the crime boss's brutal fighter, played by Chuck Norris. The fight was a masterclass in suspense and action. The ancient, crumbling walls echoed with each bone-crunching blow, every move executed with deadly precision. The audience could feel the tension in the air and the fierce energy radiating from the 2 warriors. As they clashed, sweat glistening and muscles straining, each strike and counterstrike brought them closer to the edge of exhaustion, yet neither would back down. The movie became an instant hit, raking in over $130 million worldwide, even though it was made with just $130,000. This made it 1,000 times more successful than its budget. It was the most popular film of 1972 in Hong Kong, and the most successful film ever made in Hong Kong up to that point. It also made waves in the United States, where it was released as Return of the Dragon in 1974, becoming the first Hong Kong movie to top the U.S. box office. The movie is widely regarded as one of the greatest martial arts films ever, showcasing Bruce's immense talent and charm as both a filmmaker and a star. Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee became more than mere friends. They became bound by fists, blood, and theater. So years after Bruce's death, Chuck remained silent about the truth of what had actually happened, until he could no longer hold back. Chuck Norris' shocking revelation. Chuck Norris divulged his insights into Bruce Lee's demise during a riveting martial arts exposition at a San Diego Comic-Con event. As a close friend of Lee, Norris possessed intimate knowledge of his health and habits. He recounted how Lee, in his relentless pursuit of physical perfection, had once injured his back while hoisting heavy weights, a mishap that landed him in the hospital's care for a grueling 3 weeks. During this time, astute physicians noted Bruce's lightning-fast metabolism and ceaseless quest for muscular prowess. Norris painted a portrait of Lee as a paragon of dedication, tirelessly striving for excellence in every endeavor. While in the bustling streets of Hong Kong, Bruce was said to be besieged by a crippling headache. Seeking respite, he turned to Betty Ting Pei, unaware of the grave peril that lurked within her medicine cabinet. Tragically, the concoction she proffered contained aspirin, a substance to which Lee harbored a fatal allergy. Combined with his regimented regimen of supplements and copious water consumption, this lethal cocktail precipitated a dire condition known as cerebral edema, wherein his brain swelled uncontrollably. Lee, seeking solace, reclined on Betty's bed, never to awaken again. Cerebral edema, a sinister affliction, manifests through a spectrum of symptoms ranging from agonizing headaches to vertigo and cognitive disarray. Diagnosis entails meticulous examinations and a battery of tests, including CT scans and blood analyses. Treatment strategies vary based on the underlying cause and severity of the condition, encompassing a gamut of interventions, from pharmacotherapy to surgical intervention. In the wake of Lee's untimely demise, Norris lauded him in interviews and heartfelt writings. He revered Lee as a transformative figure, whose indelible imprint on martial arts and cinema reshaped the landscape of both industries. Remaining a steadfast pillar of support for the Lee family, Norris forged an enduring bond with Bruce's son, Brandon. Despite navigating the treacherous waters of prejudice and relentless media scrutiny, Brandon stood as a beacon of resilience and fortitude in Norris's eyes. He cherished Brandon as a surrogate son with respect to his friendship with Bruce. Norris's heart fractured upon receiving news of Brandon's tragic demise, his grief a bottomless chasm of sorrow. In a somber display of solidarity, Norris paid his respects at Brandon's funeral. Theories about Bruce Lee's death. The legend's death instantly became shrouded in mystery, sparking a whirlwind of theories. Donald Tier, a respected forensic scientist, conducted an autopsy on Bruce, concluding that his demise was a result of death by misadventure. It was triggered by swelling of the brain due to a reaction to the medication Equagesic. The actor had ingested Equagesic, a potent mix of aspirin and a tranquilizer called meprobamate, on the fateful day of his demise. Though he had used it before without incident, this time it unleashed a dangerous surge in his brain's size. Rumors went around Hollywood that the portion of cannabis that was found in Bruce's stomach might have contributed to his death. Yet experts swiftly dismissed this notion as unfounded, deeming it irrational to blame cannabis for his sudden collapse and subsequent demise. In a 2018 biography, author Matthew Polly delved into other plausible causes of Lee's untimely end. He proposed that the cerebral edema might have been triggered by excessive physical exertion and heat stroke. At the time of Lee's passing, heat stroke was poorly understood, and Polly speculated that Lee's decision to remove his underarm sweat glands might have rendered him more vulnerable to overheating. Coupled with intense physical activity and scorching conditions, this could have paved the path to his fatal condition. The mystery surrounding Bruce Lee's death still persists. In a study unveiled in the December 2022 edition of Clinical Kidney Journal, a team of researchers plunged into the labyrinth of theories encircling Bruce Lee's demise. They unearthed a chilling revelation. His fatal brain swelling was ignited by hyponatremia, signaling a perilous shortage of sodium in his bloodstream. The experts pinpointed several factors that might have primed Lee for this lethal condition, such as excessive water intake, inadequate salt consumption, alcohol imbibing, and an arsenal of medications meddling with the kidney's capacity to expel surplus fluids. Lee's symptoms leading up to his demise mirrored those of other cases of fatal hyponatremia, casting a shadow of suspicion over his mysterious passing. Yet amidst the scientific scrutiny, whispers of sinister forces lurked in the shadows. Tales of mafia entanglement and a spectral curse looming over him, and his kin lingered like a haunting specter. Some speculate that the Triad's notorious underworld figures might have woven a dark web around Bruce Lee's fate. Their disdain for his portrayal of Chinese martial arts in his films simmered beneath the surface. Lee's reputation as a maverick, disrupting the staid traditions of martial arts with his innovative techniques, posed a direct challenge to the authority of traditional masters linked to the Triads. His cinematic endeavors were perceived as a threat to their hegemony, casting Bruce as a daring adversary ripe for suppression or elimination. Evidence lends weight to this chilling notion. Bruce Lee had been on the receiving end of threats from the shadowy underworld of the Triads. His final moments unfolded within the confines of Betty Ting Pei's apartment, a place rumored to have ties to the Triads, casting a sinister shadow over his demise. Furthermore, the presence of bruises and needle marks on Bruce's body hints at potential foul play, suggesting the Triads may have orchestrated a sinister cover-up to conceal their involvement in his demise. Another theory, gaining momentum like a runaway train, revolves around the belief in a curse haunting the Lee family. Following Bruce Lee's tragic passing, a dark cloud descended upon his lineage, manifesting in a series of ominous and inexplicable events. The most harrowing of these tragedies was the untimely death of his son, Brandon Lee, who met a fatal end on the set of The Crow in 1993. Reports abound of ominous individuals foretelling Bruce Lee's demise, further fueling the whispers of a malevolent force at work. But from whence does this curse emanate, and is there any substance to its chilling grip? The Lee family curse theory finds its roots in ancient Chinese folklore and superstition. Legend has it that the Lee lineage can be traced back to the esteemed General Li Yuan of the Tang dynasty. Despite his valorous service to the emperor, General Li Yuan incurred the wrath of a malevolent sorcerer who condemned his descendants to a life fraught with tribulations and adversaries. Could this have been the cause of Bruce Lee's death? The legend's parents, Li Hoi Chuan and Grace Ho, were deeply entrenched in spirituality and superstition, especially after the tragic loss of Bruce's older brother, whose passing occurred before Bruce entered the world. The cause of his brother's untimely demise remains shrouded in mystery, with whispers of it being intertwined with the curse that seemed to haunt the Lee family. To shield Bruce from malevolent forces, his parents bestowed upon him the moniker of Little Phoenix and clothed him in garments traditionally associated with girls. They even went as far as piercing his ears, clinging to the belief that it would serve as a talisman against the curse's sinister influence. Bruce Lee himself harbored unsettling premonitions about his own mortality, a chilling revelation he confided in his wife, Linda Lee. They shared tales of eerie encounters with spectral entities, sightings of otherworldly apparitions reflected in mirrors, and spectral adversaries he faced on the silver screen in films like Enter the Dragon and Game of Death. Whether these manifestations were manifestations of the curse or mere figments of imagination, they cast a long, dark shadow over the Lee family for generations to come. Bruce Lee's immortal legacy. Some experts and martial artists hail Bruce Lee as the most influential martial artist in history. He stands as a towering icon of the 20th century, bridging the gap between East and West with his groundbreaking contributions. Lee's significance transcends borders, earning him a coveted spot among Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential individuals of the 20th century. Numerous volumes chronicle Lee's extraordinary life, with one biography selling over 4 million copies by 1988. Bruce ignited the flames of the kung fu craze of the 1970s, serving as its fiery catalyst. He thrust kung fu into the Western spotlight through iconic shows like The Green Hornet and Kung Fu. This cultural explosion sparked a fervent enthusiasm for Hong Kong martial arts cinema in 1973. Inspiring a wave of Western martial arts movies and TV shows in the ensuing decades. The ripple effect of this craze propelled the careers of luminaries such as Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and Chuck Norris. Enter the Dragon stands as the pinnacle of action cinema. hailed as one of the most seminal films of its genre. The film's groundbreaking portrayal of diverse cultures shattered conventions and blazed a trail for future cinematic endeavors. A multitude of action filmmakers, both in the bustling streets of Hong Kong and the glitzy avenues of Hollywood, attribute their creative vision to Bruce Lee's profound influence. Directors such as Jackie Chan and John Woo in Hong Kong, alongside Quentin Tarantino and Brett Ratner in Hollywood, acknowledge Bruce Lee as the guiding force behind their cinematic oeuvres. Jeet Kune Do is hailed as the precursor to modern mixed martial arts, a revolutionary concept championed by Bruce Lee. Lee propagated the ethos of mixed martial arts in the Western world through his Jeet Kune Do system. He espoused the belief that true mastery transcends the confines of singular styles like boxing or karate, advocating for adaptability and the creation of one's own unique fighting style. Dana White, the visionary behind the Ultimate Fighting Championship, dubbed Lee the father of mixed martial arts. He lauded Lee's methodology of assimilating elements from diverse disciplines while discarding inefficacies as the quintessential approach to combat. Lee's influence permeated the martial arts community, attracting practitioners from all walks of life, including esteemed athletes like Sugar Ray Leonard and Manny Pacquiao, who revered Lee's prowess and incorporated his techniques into their own repertoire. Even UFC titan Conor McGregor identifies with Bruce Lee's ethos, envisioning Lee as a contemporary UFC champion had he graced the octagon. Lee's impact reverberated through the kickboxing tournaments of the 1970s, courtesy of pioneers like Joe Louis and Benny Urquidez, and American Taekwondo, under the tutelage of Jun Gu Rhee. Rhee disseminated Bruce's techniques to none other than the heavyweight boxing legend Muhammad Ali, who wielded them to clinch victories in the ring. Another titan of the boxing world attested to the pervasive influence of Bruce Lee, asserting that during the 70s, everyone aspired to emulate the martial arts maestro. In the high-octane world of the UFC, icons like John Jones, Uriah Hall, and Anderson Silva view Bruce Lee as a beacon of inspiration. Lee's revolutionary techniques, such as the oblique kick to the knee, continue to reverberate through the octagon, a testament to his enduring influence on martial arts. Many UFC warriors pay homage to Lee as the godfather of MMA, underscoring the profound impact of his enduring legacy. Bruce's indomitable spirit transcended the silver screen, reshaping perceptions of Asians in American cinema. He shattered entrenched stereotypes, debunking the notion of Asian men as feeble or subservient. Instead, Lee epitomized resilience, strength, and allure, as noted by University of Michigan lecturer Hai-Sung Chung. Lee's meteoric rise also birthed a new archetype, the martial artist. In the heartlands of North America, Bruce's cinematic exploits captivated audiences from diverse racial backgrounds, drawing fervent crowds from Black, Asian, and Hispanic communities. Among Black audiences, Lee commanded adulation, nearly on par with heavyweight pugilist Muhammad Ali during the 1970s. As his star ascended in the mainstream arena, Lee emerged as a rare non-white luminary in the whitewashed landscape of Hollywood. Musicians such as Steve Aoki and Rohan Marley echo this sentiment, acknowledging Lee's seismic influence on their craft. Rappers like LL Cool J and Wu-Tang Clan's RZA, alongside bands like Gorillaz and comedians such as W. Kamau Bell and Margaret Cho, attribute their creative spark to Lee's indomitable spirit. Even luminaries from the realm of sports, from basketball ace Stephen Curry to skateboarding icon Tony Hawk, and football prodigy Kyler Murray, draw inspiration from Lee's unyielding resolve. In the hallowed halls of comic book lore, Stan Lee, the visionary behind Marvel Comics, hailed Lee as a veritable superhero in flesh and blood. Following Lee's passing, Marvel paid homage by birthing characters like Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, and the comic series The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, all ensconced in the pantheon of Lee's legacy. Stan Lee avows that any martial artist character in the comics owes a debt of gratitude to Bruce Lee. Almost every major fighting game bears the imprint of Bruce Lee's indelible legacy. In the crucible of combat, that is EA Sports UFC, released in April, The Legend of Bruce Lee, a riveting Chinese TV drama chronicling the tumultuous life of the martial arts maestro, captured the imaginations of over 400 million viewers across China, ensnaring hearts and minds with its spellbinding tale of triumph and tragedy. By 2018, it had etched its name into the annals of television history as the most-watched Chinese TV drama series of all time. In November 2022, the corridors of cinema buzzed with excitement as news broke of Taiwanese auteur Ang Lee's ambitious endeavor, a biopic chronicling the extraordinary life of Bruce Lee. Ang Lee's magnum opus would see his own son, Mason Lee, donning the mantle of the legendary martial artist, steering the ship as producer, ensuring her father's legacy burns bright on the silver screen. The year 2024 dawned with whispers of homage in the winds of San Francisco as a proposal to erect a towering tribute to Bruce Lee took root. Shannon Lee, custodian of her father's legacy, threw her support behind the endeavor, recognizing the city's pivotal role in shaping the tapestry of their family's storied history. As the proposal gathers momentum, the streets of San Francisco await the looming silhouette of a monument to a man whose legacy transcends time and space. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.